Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, landmark decisions were on Thursday delivered by Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George, who ruled that 33 is a majority in Guyana's National Assembly as she wrapped up proceedings challenging the no-confidence resolution in the High Court. Here is that story. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George has ruled that 33 constitutes a majority of all 65 members in the National Assembly. She says that the no-confidence motion was validly passed. According to the Acting Chief Justice, the Speaker Dr. Barton Scotland found that the motion was carried by a majority of 33. She says that the principle of rounding up is not relevant to the sections of Guyana's constitution as this relates to fractions. The senior judge also pronounced on the case filed by Compton Reed over the dual citizenship of the expelled AFC member Charandas Prasad, whose vote in support of the opposition-sponsored no-confidence motion on December 21 saw government falling. The applicant, Compton Reed, was challenging the validity of Prasad's vote since the former MP failed to declare that he was also a citizen of Canada, thus having dual citizenship. Attorney Neil Boston says in this regard, he will challenge the citizenship ruling on Monday, as he was not in agreement with the decision that an elections petition was needed to challenge Prasad's vote since 2015.
I think the Chief Justice has taken a conservatory approach. We expect to see some judicial activism. We don't expect her to say, well, listen, I'm relying on Petrie and the Attorney General and other cases which says it must be brought within 28 days. There is no provision has been made for that.
Shemuel Fanfare, The Evening News. In addition, the Acting Chief Justice also ruled that the President and the Ministers of Government cannot remain in office after 3 months of the passage of the no-confidence resolution. More in this report. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George, in her determination this afternoon, outlined that the December 31, 2018 no-confidence motion was validly passed in the National Assembly and government has to resign in keeping with constitutional provisions of Article 106, Part 6 and Part 7, respectively. She was at the time addressing the other case filed on behalf of the government by Attorney General Bassey Williams that sought to put on hold on the enforcement of the motion, since he was contending whether the said motion was indeed carried by a majority of all elected members and whether or not the 33 to 32 breakdown means it was validly passed. According to the Acting Chief Justice, the Speaker Dr. Barton Scotland found that the motion was carried by a majority of 33 to 32. She noted that the validity of the motion was not doubted when it was carried on December 21. Moreover, she noted that when concerns were raised subsequently after and advanced before Speaker Scotland, he stood by the carried motion and digressed to the court for interpretation. Opposition leader's attorney Anil Nandlal welcomed today's ruling, saying that Cabinet should have effectively resigned upon the December 21 vote.
The Constitution says very clearly that once the no-confidence motion is passed, the Cabinet and the President must resign. The Chief Justice said in her last ruling there just now that they would have had to resign or they would have been resigned by operation of law since the 21st, immediately upon the passage of the no-confidence motion. So there is no cabinet in force in Guyana currently, and that's very important.
The Chief Justice outlined that the President and the Ministers cannot remain in government beyond 3 months in accordance with Articles 106, Part 6 and Part 7, respectively. Article 106.6 says that Cabinet, including the President, shall resign if the government is defeated by the vote of a majority of all elected members of the National Assembly on a vote of confidence. Meanwhile, 106.7 goes on to say that, notwithstanding its defeat, the government shall remain in office and shall hold an election within 3 months, or such long a period as the National Assembly agrees by not less than 2/3 of all members. Shemuel Fanfare, The Evening News. On Friday, reported that opposition leader Bar Jagdeo has indicated that should the Guyana Elections Commission continue to delay its elections preparations, seeking legal remedies to compel such preparations are a possibility. Here are the details in this Gerald Bryan report.
The People's Progressive Party General Secretary was at the time addressing a press conference at Freedom House earlier today. According to Jagdeo, Thursday's ruling by Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George has removed any excuse for procrastination.
The Constitution has to be respected. The Constitution has to be respected as the supreme law. The courts have said so. And so we intend to to look at GCOM. We're going to probably pursue protest action against GCOM if it does not, and against the government. We are exploring now whether we can go to the courts to direct GCOM to fulfill its constitutional duties and not to take directions from the executive.
He emphasized that for the national good, GCOM should get serious about elections preparations.
We believe that with the elections could be ready in the time frame by March 19th. We believe that because if they have to have 50 days for nomination day and 2 weeks to notify the parties, we still have 50 days remaining, and simultaneously they can proceed with the procurement of material and all the other logistics, including training on an accelerated basis to be ready for elections within that period. We see this whole issue of the house-to-house registration, which will take 6 months to a year, as a red herring.
On Thursday, the Chief Justice ruled that the December 21st no-confidence motion was validly passed against the government. Justice George also denied the government's application for a stay of judgment, noting that the Constitution is clear. According to the Constitution, Cabinet has to resign and elections must be called and held within 3 months of the vote. So far, GCOM's level of preparedness for elections is still unclear, and meetings to ascertain this have gone nowhere. Javel Bryan, The Evening News.
And finally, United Nations Resident Coordinator Mikiko Tanaka is urging the coalition to demonstrate its integrity and respect the Constitution. More from Divina Ramdas.
According to Tanaka, who was at the time addressing an interfaith ceremony on Friday at the launching of Harmony Week, building a peaceful and just society requires respect for the law and confidence in national institutions.
SDG 16 recognizes that building peaceful, just, and inclusive societies that provide equal access to justice and that are based on respect for human rights, including the right to development, requires effective rule of law and good governance at all levels, and on transparent, effective, and accountable institutions.
She added that the political developments are a test for Guyana's strength and integrity.
Recent political developments triggered by the no-confidence vote at the National Assembly are a test for Guyana's strength and integrity with regards to the effectiveness of the rule of law and good governance.
Tanaka went on to laud Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George for demonstrating the independence and integrity of the judiciary when it comes to protecting the Constitution of Guyana. She also mentioned Speaker of the National Assembly Dr. Barton Scotland's rejection of government's attempt to overturn the no-confidence vote in his chambers.
It is hoped that the third arm of the state, the executive, will demonstrate its integrity and respect of Guyana's Constitution and the judiciary that constitute the foundations of rule of law and good governance.
The UN representative further noted that the upcoming general and regional elections will be a big test for Guyana, considering the atmosphere of mistrust that permeated previous elections. She noted that the need for political parties to be responsible was absolutely critical for bringing an end to racial inequality. The acting Chief Justice ruled on Thursday that the no-confidence motion was validly passed 33 to 32 in the National Assembly, and the Cabinet has to resign in keeping with the constitutional provisions of Article 106.6 and 106.7 respectively. Divina Ramdas, The Evening News.
And that's a wrap on this week's Weekend Review. Do join us again on Monday at 1900 hours for the evening news. From all of us here at TVG Studios, thanks for watching and do have a safe and productive week ahead. Goodbye for now.